Hello, everybody, and we are live. Let me just pin myself. All right, awesome. Hi, everybody. My name is Alex. As you probably already know, I am the founder of Aimfox, and I see people are logging in, are joining this session, and I am very excited because one of the things that we always talk about, like how to do outreach, different functionalities, all of these different integrations that we do, all of these features. But in a lot of the cases, we miss a core aspect of LinkedIn outreach, and that's basically your LinkedIn profile. So a lot of these things we do is like you do the outreach, you do the messaging, but you don't get the replies. And how your LinkedIn profile looks basically determines how it performs. Your LinkedIn profile is your landing page. So when it comes to LinkedIn outreach. So today with us, we have a guest that is also one of the top Aimfox experts, and he's been breaking the platform with a bunch of campaigns, a bunch of integrations, and he is definitely one of the leaders in the space and with us. So please join me in welcoming Dave. Dave, let me just put you on here.
Good.
And yeah, wait a second. For some reason, I need to pin, replace pin. Awesome. Here you go.
Awesome.
The
Well,
floor is
guys,
yours, Dave.
thank you, Alec. Thank you. First of all, thank you for this invitation. Thank you for always trusting me since day one. I still remember the first day we met. Every time we jam, we always have so much valuable things that we can start building. And every time we get out of this calls, I just want to get back to working and crushing it and kind of pull that creative side of me, right? I wanted to go over a few of the things that have worked for me on LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn for the past 9 years, but my career basically took off starting 2023. Right, I even made a post about it last week where it's like I never thought LinkedIn would influence so much of my pipeline. Before I did, I was one of the people that would never believe it would actually work. So this is going to be an awesome session. Obviously, there's a lot of tools we will take into account, but it's tools that we have access to, like Claude, ChatGPT, and of course, Aimfox, that has been the top tool on LinkedIn that we have ever used. I did use multiple tools. I don't want to mention them because I'm not giving anybody credit here, but Aimfox, because they have overpowered our capacity in turning every message into a potential opportunity. So first of all, Alec, I want to thank you for such a great tool you built. Thank you for looking out for us when it comes to the feedback that we give. I know you have a change log or where we can get to document some feedback of things that we want coming. So I appreciate your team for looking into that, hearing us out, and actually aiming towards giving us the best experience using LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I do want to give you.
it's your guys' feedback that like and the users' feedback that really helps us shape a lot of the platform and kind of like directs in which direction we're developing. So I mean, yeah, it's the feedback that we get from you and from all the other users is what makes Aimfox what it is. But just for
Absolutely.
the audience, today is going to be a little bit different than what we usually do because usually we just like chit chat and talk. But today, this is going to be more like a master class, basically. So Dave is going to be showing you, giving you a very actionable blueprint and just like walking you through core pillars of the pre-work you need to do in order to be successful on LinkedIn with a LinkedIn outreach tool, and then how to leverage all of these other different aspects and tools with it. Yeah, I mean, we already have a fair amount of people joining. So Dave, I'm gonna let you kick it off. You're
Sounds
gonna have
good.
the stage, and I'll be jumping in with questions as they come. So,
Sounds
man,
good.
the
Perfect.
floor the
So
floor is yours.
let's do it. Let's do it, Alex. So first of all, this is for Aimfox power users, anybody that's using LinkedIn outreach tools. This is for anybody even doing emails. What I want to show you guys is what helped me. Mind you, I'm not the best at this. This is something based on my experience that I want to share with you guys. I want to be super unbiased. It could work for you. It may not work for you. There might be some things you need to change on your offer. There might be some things you need to change on your messaging, your copy, your ICP. But I'm going to walk you through what worked for me, and it could work for you. All right. So the reason why I chose LinkedIn profile hacks, I did this on purpose, right? I wanted to make it sound like a hook that people would just not believe, right? But ideally, what I want to do is actually share value here and show you the system behind the profiles that actually convert and helped us convert a lot of opportunities. We applied this with over 152 profiles, and we did this by testing the first 10 initial profiles from our internal team in order to put this to test. So the first thing that I want to go over is what is the problem?
Just before you go up, I would just like a confirmation for people on the other side of the screen if they're seeing the presentation on their full screen. So just drop us a confirmation that you're seeing what you need to see. There should be a PowerPoint presentation in front of you. So let's just wait for some replies to come in. Guys, let us know. And it looks like things are good. Yeah. Okay.
Sounds good. Awesome.
Then just go for it.
Sounds good. Let's get it. So what is the problem? Everyone is obsessed with outreach volume, right? Especially if you have a small TAM, you constantly have to refill those campaigns. But what nobody's focusing on is you need to make sure that the outreach sticks, right? So what happens when you do outreach without a optimized profile? The messages go into the void. There's no credibility when they click. Replies are low, there's high volume, but then you burn through leads very fast, right? And you have to think about LinkedIn as a network effect, right? Because usually what you're doing in LinkedIn, you're not only getting the message across, but you're also building a community, right? And there's something in LinkedIn that some people kind of overlook, right? Every month, you get 250 invitations that you can send to people from your company page. So what happens after you send a connection request, you send a message, the person took the time and evaluated whether your profile is actually saying what you do, right? And then your company also compounds that. What happens is that when people accept the connection request, you can start sending those connections every month. And that's over 3,000 connections a year. So build that network effect, but it usually goes well when you have a profile that represents what you actually do. So what does outreach plus a profile that's optimized look like? So profiles convert visitors, credibility is pre-built, higher reply rates, and compounding returns. So your profile is the landing page for every connection request, any email, any normal message, and any comment that you make, right? This is something that we ran into because there was a time where we did a lot of campaigns and it just didn't feel like people were getting it. And I realized it wasn't the message, is that when they went to the profiles, they just didn't trust us anymore. So we had to find a solution. And it wasn't only just one person in the company. Every time there's a gap like this, you have to make sure that the rest of the company is also applying this. Because what happens, right? There's this thing that I tend to respect a lot, which is the disc profiling, right? So each person has a different profile, right? High D tends to be a CEO, straightforward, fast, no stories, no buzzwords. But there's some people they like the storytelling. They like data. They like information to be shared with them. So what happens is that sometimes when you do an outreach from one campaign, usually they convert in the profile that matches their disc profiling. So what happens is they might not convert in a conversation with me, but they might go on my other profile from, let's say, the chief of staff, and then actually open up a conversation there. And then that person took the time to look at my profile, look at the person they choose to talk to, and now they have more buy-in and more idea of what they're looking for, right? So that's something that we took into account, and it has worked flawlessly, right? So the three pillars that I want to go over in this session is AI as a context engine, profile mapping as a system, and how to model top performing LinkedIn profiles. So the first one is AI as a context engine. So you need to feed your AI your full LinkedIn data so every edit is informed by context, right? So when you're on your LinkedIn, if you go to settings, if you go to export data, like a data copy of all the data that you have in your LinkedIn profile, you can actually give this to Claude and say, Claude, what is my growth? what is the percentage of the ICP that I'm building year by year, right? What does my conversations look like? Who am I actually connected to? Who can I connect to? Who haven't I send a message to? You can obviously get some of this information on Sales Navigator. Hey, people that I haven't messaged, but it gives you a better idea using all of that data and giving all that context to Claude, because it builds very detailed reports, and it also organizes your files. So next thing you know, in my case, I have 20,000 connections. So what happens? I gave that information to Claude. It gave me growth month by month. It told me how much is the percentage of the ICP that I'm connecting to. And on top of that, it's giving me patterns of how I communicate with these buyers so I can actually continue improving my messaging. So, and this is the moment where you need to take into account the more context you give AI, the better return you get, the better output you get, right? And then now, when you give all that context, then that's when you start working with your profile, mapping it as a system. So every profile field is a keyword opportunity, and this is very important because when people do outreach on LinkedIn, sometimes they go on the profile, they go on the company page, and then the outreach, and everything sounds the same. It's very easy to create content, or it's very easy to create messaging or a profile that compounds with the other, right? So what I've seen is people usually go to the profile. Essentially, they'll see the first message if you have a message on the connection, which I don't recommend, but people do it, which is totally fine. But first is the initial message. Then they go into your profile. Then they take the time. They start scrolling the headline. They see your about me. They get to see your feature section. They see that you're taking them somewhere else. And then you have the activity view. Do you want people to see your videos? Do you want people to see your images? Do you want people to see your work history, right? But sometimes people want to go a little deeper. They want to see what company you represent, right? They also want to see who is also working with that company, right? So they want to go and take their time, especially if the product has a high ACV, right? Because they're not going to commit if they don't have enough information for them to commit. Or it's very hard for a person that influences that buying decision to actually formulate a story and go back to their team and say, these are the guys, right? So it's very important to field every single field as a keyword opportunity. And then that's when we go to modeling top performance. Study what authority profiles do and apply their structures to yours. So each one of these pillars compound each other, okay? So Alec, just want to make a little pause here, kind of want to discuss what you think about this. This is something that has definitely, this was the 3 pillars that we've been sticking for the 2 years, and it has helped us a ton.
Yeah, 100%. So, by the way, everybody, like in the audience, and I see that the numbers are increasing, just feel free to ask questions and we can feature them. Now, I definitely think, like, I love the idea of the data dump that you get from LinkedIn by exporting all of your data. And I think that's something that a lot of users neglect exists. And I think the value of that data was less before the era of AI. Because one of the things that AI does amazingly well, it lets you structure and get like actionable input output from the data you feed. So I really like that. And honestly, it's something that I haven't done. And I'm definitely going to try and play around with that data export. Now, just doubling down on the importance of AI. Now, one of the things that we do on Aimfox, like when we let you write, when we have like an AI functionality where we basically, if you have like 1,000 leads in your lead list, we take all of their individual LinkedIn profile data, we feed that data to ChatGPT, and we let you prompt copy based on that data. So you can like create custom copy, like custom variables, custom copy for every specific LinkedIn profile. So that is also like something that like we do. So I understand the whole concept. But like love it. I mean, that's definitely like you're definitely hitting the nail on the head with everything you're saying.
Awesome. So I want to get you guys excited on what was the change since AI appeared, and it keeps evolving day by day, right? I don't know if you guys seen what's going on in the Open Claude. Now this Pico Claude, now it runs on less memory. There's changes happening every day, and it's hard to keep up, right? Claude launches, ChatGPT launches. But one of the things that I highly recommend, and it's not here, is this. And this is something you're going to thank me for. whenever AI is releasing new stuff, respect and protect your main idea. Don't go and run new ideas with AI over time, because you get lost in the loophole, right? What I always recommend is keep improving that one idea that already works. Keep building the narrative. Keep learning from it, right? Ask every single day or every week or every month, question the same thing you already built, and you will get more to it. As the agents evolve, as this AI gets better, you're going to get your systems better. It's impossible not to, right? So how this used to be in the old ways is manually. You will have to rewrite the copy every time. You will have to guess what resonates with your ICP. There was no memory between the edits, right? You have to start from scratch from each update. Now you can feed AI your full LinkedIn data, get persistent context across every edit. AI maintains your voice and the positioning, and every update builds on the last. So AI should know your LinkedIn better than you. Or else, how are you expecting this thing to give you the best output? It doesn't make sense, right? So, what I always recommend, the more context you give it, the better output you get, right? Because that same Claude project or that same custom GPT you built is going to help you create articles. It's going to help you create content. It's going to help you serve your clients better. It's going to help you draft a better email, a better follow-up. There's so much to it, but if it doesn't have the context, it's only gaslighting you, it's hallucinating, and at the end of the day, your buyer doesn't even feel like you're actually talking to them. It feels like you're just responding with AI responses, and sometimes you can lose deals. I've seen companies lose deals just because they don't take their effort, and it only takes 1 minute to actually, give that special touch where they can feel like they're being heard, right? So your AI should know your LinkedIn better than you, and this is something that you will experience when you apply this. So, how to build your AI engine? So, I'm not going to go very complicated. I usually I tend to fall into my habits where I give it so much context. Sometimes I give it a dump of 41,000 line documents, because Claude has a very huge capacity to take on information, right? So sometimes I just want to test it. I want to see how far it can go and how long it can keep the context. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but Opus 4.5 had a context window of 400,000. Now it has 1 million. So it can hold context for a longer period of time. So don't feel like you're overwhelming it. If you're just dumping your LinkedIn PDF and few of the SOPs that you're in charge of, you're not overwhelming Claude. That's like taking 1% of its capacity. You can give it documents, books, PDFs, presentations, everything you did over the year. Or you can even connect Claude as a connector, go in your drive, find the best related content, and then dump it in that project. So don't fear the capacity. It can handle it. Okay. So what is the first thing that you do? Here I put two options. I've done it with the GPTs and I've done it with Claude. Claude projects for me has been more efficient, right? It has more capacity to take on data. It also has the instructions. And then when you start building a project on Claude, you have three options you need to take care of. You have the memory, you have the instructions, and then you have the files. So essentially what happens is you give it a lot of files so you can grab all the context, that's the data dump, and then the instructions, what to do with that data. And then while you're working on that project, questioning it, improving your LinkedIn, improving your company's profiles, improving everything, the memory is going to start picking up patterns of the stuff you're querying. So what happens? There's a similar functionality to Octave. I use Octave, for example, when it comes to context engine. And what it does is that you can tell the memory, hey, stop saying these certain things. Stop positioning that way. And you can actually edit the memory. So over time, it takes into account the feedback you give it, right? Because a buyer most likely tell you, hey, I don't like XYZ. So then you tell the memory, don't ever mention XYZ, right? And then over time, when you're working on that project, it will take that into account, respecting the instructions, respecting the memory feedback, and then obviously always using the context. There is another layer if you want to get a little bit more deeper, which is the Claude skills. So Claude skills, you can actually, feed all that information into a skill, and then you can use it across any chat. You don't have to use it on a specific project, but that's a different use, right? But for now, you can just use the Claude project. You can use a custom GPT. What I recommend, if you're using a GPT, disabled web research, right? So it can only use the context you give it, and it doesn't go in the internet and kind of bring you information you truly don't need, right? So that has been my main way of using ChatGPT to get a better output compared to Claude. I recommend it. Okay, so first is create a GPT in a Claude project, give it a name, make sure it's something you can easily find, bookmark it. Then what you do is you dump the LinkedIn PDF exports, screenshots, content on the file section so that it keeps that information, right? And then when you instruct it, it's going to define the voice, it's going to build the ICP and the positioning, respecting the context, right? And then you get to iterate, right? And that way, hey, I don't like the way it sounds. It doesn't hit the character limit. So then you can start questioning, hey, can you make those adjustments? And it'll get smarter over time, right? So this is one way to start. Then when it comes to extracting your LinkedIn data, so your LinkedIn profile is sitting on a gold mine of signals, connections, messages, invitations, profile views, and most people never look at them. I've been that person in the past, right? So connections, a full list of who you're connected to in a company data. Messages, complete conversation history, mind of patterns, how you communicate, how they respond. And if you get to the point where you can get the actual voice of the customer, that's going to power your content. It's going to power your outreach because you know how people refer to your business. Sometimes it happens to us where we feel very fancy to say certain words, but if our buyers are not using those words, you're the only one sounding fancy and nobody cares, right? So it's always it's a good way to pick up those patterns, voice the customer keywords, and use them for outreach, right? And then invitations, who reached out, who accepted, who ignored, right? So that you can get them back. Profile views, who's looking at you, map them to your ICP. So obviously when you're pulling all this information together, you also have to put on the files, who is your ICP? Or else how would Claude even guess, right? So it's not just the context of your profile. It's not just the context of your internal SOPs or all the information you're doing, but also give it your ICP. And the best way that I did it is using Claude as well. I gave it all of the 205 companies that hired over 2,000 people from us. And then I gave it the details and then it built the ICP. And that helped me build very targeted campaigns on Aimfox. It helped me improve my content. Now my articles make sense, right? And it's easier for me to have these conversations with buyers because when they go on my LinkedIn profile, they're getting the same sense of who I am on the conversation and then when they land on my LinkedIn. So the idea is to keep the narrative. So most people never looked at their own data, and that's where the gold is. Alec.
Man, nothing much to add to that, honestly. I like the part of like signals and like missed signals. That like people are always like focusing so much on the outbound, but you get also a lot of like inbound stuff coming in, such as profile views, like a big signal of interest. And Sales Navigator does a good job helping you identify those. And through for example, like a Sales Navigator campaign on Aimfox, you can automate reaching out to everybody who views your profile. So that's one good way to do it. But yeah, I mean, I like the idea of messages, message exports, all of that stuff. So yeah, man, just nothing much to add there, honestly.
Awesome. So I'll continue. So what does AI do with your data? So it segments your inbox context. It organizes contacts for campaign reactivation, knows who to re-engage, right? So I'll tell you a use case that I did and it worked flawlessly. So considering that we're a marketplace that has remote talent, right? Usually buyers come to me because they need to hire talent in LATAM. They need GTM engineers, and SDRs, AEs. So what I did is I exported all the data from the marketplace, all of it. People that are active, inactive, in supported regions, unsupported regions. And then I cross-reference it with my data on LinkedIn. So then I can say, hey, out of the people that are active in the marketplace, who can I message for them to complete the profile, for them to re-engage them with showing them more candidates that are available right now for them to hire. So it built those lists, but taking into account the data that I already collected. So it helped me reactivate an audience that I could have missed on previous campaigns, right? So I got a ton of value, and obviously running it through Aimfox, it was very quick because what Claude do is whenever you use Claude Code or Claude Cowork, what it does is that it takes over your internal files. So now if you give it your export, it can actually start taking over the files and then breaking the list, segmented, and then it leaves it organized where I just have to go and open Aimfox and just drag and drop the CSVs because it's already well organized for me. So I don't. So what usually will cost me a lot to do that with Clay or other tools, Claude is doing it in seconds. So now I can reactivate campaigns in under 10 minutes, right? So that works very well. And I've been doing this for the past 2 weeks. I've gotten over 38 positive replies in the past 3 days. And it works very well because Claude is literally organizing data for me. Usually you will have to hire somebody to do it manually. Sometimes you will have to invest in a GTM engineer to do it for you. Claude did it for me in 10 minutes. So it's a good way to leverage this, right? Growth reports. I was capable to understand that, for example, I'm attracting over 600 connections per month, right? So I need to understand if that connection is actually connected to my ICP or if I'm literally just shooting it. I'm shooting in the air, right? So it's good to keep track of what is the percentage of the ICP that I'm connecting year by year, right? The ICP analysis, what I just mentioned, I gave it all the data of my deal one clients, people that have transacted through us, and then it built lookalikes so I could go find them, Sales Navigator, if I use tools like Ocean.ai, etc. Right? And then network intelligence. You know who you're connected to before you ask for anything. It's good to know what your LinkedIn attracts, right? So that you can build more content similar to what worked for you, right? So AI turns raw data into actionable network strategy. So one of the things that I highly recommend is, yes, you can have a profile that's optimized. Yes, you can have a company page that's well organized. But one thing that I highly recommend that has helped me a ton is go to networking events. Show people your LinkedIn, get some feedback. It's easier to get feedback when the person is in front of you than online. Sometimes they're not going to tell you the truth. And let's be honest here. When you in an event, they'll tell you if your LinkedIn makes sense or not. And sometimes ask the person that has nothing to do with it. Does this make sense? Like if you had nothing, if you had no idea what my business does, do you understand what I'm capable of doing? And sometimes that is the best feedback. Asking people you least suspect. And sometimes if they get it, that means you're up to something, right? Moving to the next slide. This is something that I've been trying to change the narrative on how to optimize a profile. And usually I try to aim for an SEO map. So nothing should repeat. Each field serves as a unique purpose in your keyword strategy. And I'm going to show you how that works. Everything should compound. So fields build on each other to strengthen your positioning, and every word is indexed. So for my understanding, don't quote me on it, but your company page on LinkedIn gets indexed into Google. So if you're a business that has Google My Business, there's something on the company page that's called specialties. Use those keywords because Google picks them up, right? And sometimes we don't take it that far. Sometimes we could get free inbound just for focusing on those little things that get indexed in Google, right? So one of the things that has surprised me the most after applying all of this is that 70% of our buyers are coming from Claude and ChatGPT, right? Because you got to take into account the following. When you're building out your profile, your company page, you have to do it in a way that you give the AI enough information for people to believe it, right? It's not going to graph keywords and say you're the best. It doesn't work that way. Or I haven't seen it work that way. What I've seen is if you give it enough information, ChatGPT and Claude will have enough information to make the sell for you. So if you're not using it in that way, it's very hard for Claude to be like, trust me, they're the guys. Because sometimes when I have buyers that come in, they already know everything that we do. They already selected 3 candidates they want to hire. They know how the model works. And all I have to do is introduce my team. So enable the AI to sell for you because it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. It used to work in the past, but now it's not. Especially with all this AI crawling and all this stuff, it's going to get more difficult.
Yeah, I just want to double down on that. And I know we have our head of growth here on the webinar as well, Andre. And just like the importance of AI. So firstly, as of recently, LinkedIn is sharing that data with ChatGPT, we call with the scrapers, right? So for the first time, LinkedIn is becoming a source of data for AIs. And for example, what we see for Aimfox, we see a substantial number of our daily registrations, and we get a couple of hundred free trials per day. A fair number of those comes from ChatGPT or from other AI tools, because we ask our users, like, where did you hear about us? And about 20% of them say from ChatGPT or other AI tools. So just
Mhm.
the importance of that is, like, it can have a lot of impact. And
Exactly.
Dave, I have one more idea. Like, maybe what we can get our audience to do is, like, maybe they can share, if they're open to it, they can share their LinkedIn profile URLs. And if we see some interesting, if maybe you can, maybe at the end you can, like, pick one or two, and just kind of like show some things, like, right off the bat, that you don't like on these profiles, that you think these guys should
Yeah.
change. Yeah, just kind of make it a little
That.
interactive. So, guys,
Mhm.
share your LinkedIn profile. All right, I already see the LinkedIn profiles coming in. Uh,
Uh-huh.
Wendell, I'm not sure if it's going to be first come first serve, but you were the first to drop it. But yeah, guys,
Sounds good.
drop it, and then we'll pick it up in a bit, and then we'll take a look at a few profiles.
Sounds perfect. Let's do it. Let's do it. That's exciting. Awesome. So I'm gonna get started. So think of your profile as a search engine, not a resume. Remember that. All right. So I'm gonna start piecing everything together so that you know exactly how it worked for me. So the fields that matter: personal profile, the banner copy, right, is usually a promise, but ideally it could be a visual brand and a CTA. Don't make it too complicated. It is one of the first thing they see, but the main thing is the headline. But the headline, you only have the opportunity to place 220 characters, right? The about section, sorry, I recommend 1,650 characters. When it comes to skills, I recommend 5 terms and one single keyword, but related to what you do, right? So if there's a specific niche keywords, use them. The feature section, showcase your best content, but it's not a one-time thing, right? There's going to be moments where you're going to a very important event, or there's going to be moments where there's a post that you collaborated. Use it as strategically. Don't just leave it there and just hoping it will work forever. It doesn't, right? Activity view. So at LinkedIn, you have the option where you see your images, your videos, your articles, your newsletters. It's called the activity view. You can change the view. So it can be like, I only want people to see videos. Videos is what people respect the most, because it's very hard for people to repeat your format, because nobody can be you, right? So I would always recommend having the view as videos, right? If you're in recruiting, I recommend images, because usually you're promoting opportunities. If you're a GTM engineer, I recommend images as well, because it kind of shows workflows, the tools that you're putting together, right? But you'll decide what works best for you on your activity view. And then recommendations, right? Always ask people for recommendations. It doesn't hurt to ask. If your buyer was excited, happy, you gave them the results, you over exceeded the quota, ask for a recommendation. It's very hard for them to say no. And most likely you can give them one as well. So you return the favor. So we're both happy, right? The fields that matter.
I think I still haven't returned the favor.
No,
I
no, no.
just
But I will earn it now. But I will earn it now. Cool.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. I made this just so I can earn that after this. All right. So the fields that matter on the company page. So in the company tagline, your core promise of the company, your company overview. It's not similar to the profile page. It's problem, bridge, credibility, and differentiator. And you have 1,300 characters to formulate that idea, right? Services. So this is something that people don't use, right? And before I get to that, I want to share something, right? Because sometimes people think the LinkedIn Premium is only on the profile page. It's also on the company page. And most likely, you have the option to claim a free month of your company page LinkedIn Premium. And what you can do is you can go to who viewed your company page, and just for activating the 1 month, you can go back to 365 days of data of people that has interacted with your company page. Go reach out to them. It's basically free leads. You can go back into 365 days. All the people that landed on the company page. So if you have the time to go into your company page, if you don't have access, request access. But most likely you have a free month of company page LinkedIn profile, premium, sorry, and you can achieve that, which is super useful. It helped me a ton to reach back to people that I probably missed, right? Um, but one of the things that is highly important is that you can activate service page on the profile and on the company page. And you can select up to 10 different services that you offer. And that also gets indexed on LinkedIn. So I recommend do it for both. Do it on your personal profile and on the company page. You will see services. It will ask you if you charge per hour or you charge per project, or it will tell you 10 different options. One of the things that's super important, if your profile's in Spanish or English, you will have different options. Just so that you're aware, I did the study of every single field that exists on Sales Navigator, every single field that exists on the service page, every single field on both languages, Spanish and English, just because it will hurt me when I go on ChatGPT or Claude and it'll just answer stuff without actually data that exists. So then you get very excited and try to go find those service options. You won't find them. So it's very good that you take the time. If you only fit into one service, try to fill the rest of the 10 services with something related to the thing you offer so you can still get indexed, right? And then use the service description. So it could be an outcome proven CTA of 3 lines, make it quick, 325 characters, and that should support the whole narrative. Your company profile overview, the tagline, and then the service page. So people know exactly what are your services, right? And then the specialties, right? The specialties, you have 20 SEO terms that you can add. I think you could go above 20 if it's required. I saw that it's only up to 20 that they recommend. But if you want to go above 30, 40, that's on you. I'll take your extra time, but it is possible, right?
So before we jump on, I just want to pick up one question from the audience.
Yeah, go for it.
So they say, Dave, really interesting. Does it work on all LinkedIn accounts, not only with Aimfox? So yes, everything that Dave is talking about here, you can use on any type of LinkedIn profile. You can use it on your personal LinkedIn profile, but you can also apply a lot of this on the LinkedIn profiles avatars that you rent from Aimfox. So we give you the option to also rent LinkedIn avatars that you can use to scale. Within that, we also give you the option to fully customize these accounts, the headlines, the about section, the cover photos. So basically everything Dave is talking about here is just as applicable for your personal LinkedIn profile as it is for the rental avatar that you get from us, basically. And it matters because I've seen it impact results a lot. So yeah, definitely just wanted to interrupt you really quickly with that question. And yeah.
Sounds good. No, and Alex, you nailed it, because this is whether you have an outreach tool or you don't, right? Because there's a lot of people that are authority figures that they don't even need to run outreach. Just for them existing, like the CEO of Entropics, like he doesn't even need to post the content. He can just reshares and he'll get all the attention.
Or LinkedIn, or your LinkedIn account can be just like a supporting tool to your other outreach channels, right? So I know for us, for example, personally, like even like if like somebody from our sales team is not doing outreach through Aimfox, they still use that LinkedIn profile as a supporting channel of communication. For example, if it's integrated with Instantly, right? So like if we do, or Smartly, we have integrations with both. So like if we get an interested reply there, automatically we send you a connection request. So it's not like cold outreach, it's like warm outreach because you've already kind of like showed an interest. But yeah, it can be a standalone channel, LinkedIn, but it can also be a supporting channel and just falls into your wider picture.
Yeah. Awesome. So Alec, just to continue with this, one of the things that I saw was this compound effect, because I got in books. I sent a connection request. The message didn't even land and they booked me. So the compound effect is that from the connection request, then they see your profile, right? I usually recommend, especially when I use an Aimfox, is send a message after the hour of connecting, right? So it kind of gives room to kind of like, hey, this person literally just accepted and the message came in. It feels like a pitch slap. So I recommend 1 to 3 hours after they accepted, usually is what I usually recommend. And when it comes to the company page and the profile, so what usually happens is the connection comes in, they validate your profile, and then if they want to get a little bit deeper, they go to your company page, right? So it's same positioning, deep in story, no repetition, each field has new context. So when somebody reads your connection request, then visits your profile, then checks your company page, the story deepens, it does not restart. Because sometimes they might go to my profile, they go to my other peers, and then it just feels like, but who's in charge of what? All I hear is pitches, right? And that's why you always want to make sure if you have 10 people in your team, 20 people, 10, Try to give all this context to Claude and say, hey, I have 10 different roles. Each person handles 10 different things. And then build the headlines like that so everybody know, hey, if I have to talk to finance, this is what he does. If I have to talk to somebody else in finance as well, this person is in charge of this thing as specifically. So use that as a leverage, right? Because then when you meet the person, they have more context and it would only help you win. So there's two types of LinkedIn authority, right? There's people like the owner of OpenAI, Elon Musk. There's a lot of people that just don't require too much polishing, right? So people that are already an authority, CEOs of known brands, they do not need to sell on their profile. The brand speaks for itself, or it's a profile, it's a formality, right? So if you are a service business or you're at a growth stage, you need a system. You need a structured profile system. The profile is your sales page, and every field must convert, right? Because I've seen authority figures that they don't need to do anything. They just need to have a profile, just like Alex said, just so that it can represent the company. But if you are running an agency, you're running your business, you need to make sure that your landing page is your essentially your profile is essentially your landing page, right? So that people know exactly what you can help them with. So if you're not Elon, you need a formula. Okay. Um, moving into the profile mapping as a system, the headline formula. This is something that I gathered from a lot of profiles that I reviewed. Um, and what the trend that I found, a lot of people don't like it. I'm totally fine with it. There's people that don't like the when a headline starts with "I help," but it has worked a ton for me. So I help A, do B through C. If you want D, then E and get F. So who you help? A, what they achieve. C is your method. D is your desire. E is the action, and then F is the payoff. So who you help, your ideal client or audience, what they achieve, the outcome and transformation, your method, the mechanism or approach, the desire, what they actually want. Action is the next step they should take, and then the payoff, their specific result or deliverable. Your headline is the most read line on your entire profile. So make every character count. And once again, you have 220 characters to take into account for you to formulate that A, B, C, D, E, F formula that I recommend, right? I've seen people that just put the title. Once again, they're authority figures. It works for them. But sometimes if you want business to come to you and people to actually have a conversation, show them what you can help them with up front. Don't make it harder for them. Don't make it a puzzle. You either want business or you don't. Don't make it hard for yourself. Um, and then the about section formula. This is a specific formula on the 1,650 characters that I recommend. One is the context. Tell them why you exist. What is your original story? People buy from people. They don't truly care about the product until you present it in a way that makes sense for them. And usually a story is what kind of helps you stick to that profile and kind of make you want to navigate more. So tell them why you exist. What is your original story? What is the problem that you're solving? What is broken in their market, right? Name the specific pain. Like, for example, our buyers, the biggest pain is that they do a job post on LinkedIn. It costs a lot. They get a whole bunch of unqualified candidates. They go into cloudtask.com, they see a video, they see a profile, all the profiles are human verified. And then people get excited because they get to assess the English level, they get to assess the fluency of the tools that they use, and then it gives them the confidence to take them on an interview instead of wasting time. So it's easier for me to say, hey, I got a video, I got a profile, I have a team that's giving me a managed service around it. And on top of that, I'm seeing qualified candidates in my calendar faster than having to do this myself. So in our case, I have to state those pains clearly because the same buyers tell me it, which is the voice of the customer. So I have to use that as part of my plan, right? The method, how do you fix it? Show your unique approach, right? And then the CTA, what should they do next? And make the action obvious. So tell why you exist, what is broken, how to fix it, and what to do next. That is part of the about section formula I wanted to share with you, Alec. I did have different variations of it at first, but this was the one that I finally landed, and it has worked a lot for us. But I wanted kind of to get your take. Is this the right format to kind of formulate a narrative? What is your take on this, Alec?
I mean, yeah, I mean, like again, like just going back to like the whole like your LinkedIn profile is your landing page. Like when you're building a landing page, there is a certain like flow you want the user to go through. right? So like,
Yeah.
I think back at the head, one step back on the headline, super important and very often neglected, because the headline is the thing, as you said, that users see the most. Like when you drop a comment on somebody's post, they see your first name, last name, profile picture, and headline. And that
Mhm.
headline gets a lot of visibility. Now, as soon as they go to the next step, the about section, like for me, like I would just like add one thing. Like I think the about section has like the first section, which is like before you click read more, and
Mhm.
that is like the top section of the about section. Now, I would also like kind of like structure it two-way. One way is like using that like top section of the about section that is always previewed as kind of
Mhm.
like one package, and then like use the bottom section for people who are actually going to click the read more and who are actually interested in reading more and reading about the story. That's kind of my take on the about
Absolutely.
section.
Absolutely, and that also comes into takes you also take that into account when it comes to building content, right? Because when you publish on LinkedIn, and you also have that room before the read more. So use that in the about me the same way people use it on the post, right? Because ideally is a
Yeah,
hook, a strong hook,
exactly,
and then you grab them, right? And then you kind
exactly.
of show them everything you do, right?
Yep, yep.
So what are the top performing behaviors? Like I mentioned, this is a few things that I do want to share and it has helped a ton. Is that whenever you have a feature section, people tend to add text to the description. If you remove the description on your feature section, it becomes a direct link. So whenever you added the description, LinkedIn has like a second stop. It shows the same information you see on the profile. So it makes a very useless second tab. And then people get to kind of drop, right? Because of that little delay. What I recommend is remove the descriptions. If you have to add text, add it to the image, and then it just redirects directly to whatever landing page you want to take them. I actually did this test with a lot of podcasters that I respect, and I reached out to them. I reached out to Jason Bay. I reached out from guys from Presidential Club, 20 Minutes of President Club, sorry. And I reached out to all of them. I'm like, hey, use your feature section. And a lot of them, like Chris Orlob, they reached out to me and say, thank you. That actually improved the traffic on my website because it wasn't making that stop. So for people that have such high traffic on their profiles, don't put those invisible walls. Just get them right in your landing page. If you know your landing page already converts, if you already have enough traffic, just remove the description on the feature sections. Second one is the activity view. Like I mentioned, you get to choose images, videos, articles, change them as strategically. I personally like post because I'm constantly resharing, posting other stuff, sharing information from other folks that I respect. I'm reposting information from Aimfox because I have a lot of people in my community that use Aimfox. So they're waiting for my updates to kind of get creative on using the tool more. So I like post because I get to show what I'm supporting real time, right? But sometimes I do change it to images when I go to events. So people see the opportunities that I have available for them to get a job. So just use it as specifically to whatever you're going to do, right? So people who read your recommendations before reaching out, already 70% sold. So as I mentioned, collect it aggressively. Reach out to people that you worked in the past, reach out to people you're currently working, reach out to happy buyers. Hey, can I get a recommendation? I'll return one back. So that's another way to kind of fill that. So the complete story, outreach, profile, company, recommendations. First impressions, deep credibility, brand authority, and social proof. That is your buyer's complete journey when they land on your LinkedIn. Each touch points reinforces the last, and your buyer should take the time to read your full story. No, the buyers who take the time to read the full story are the ones ready to buy. Give them the full story, right? Because sometimes it might work in your advantage where like you act like a little box of surprises where your profile doesn't say anything, but then you meet them and they're impressed. But then it's easier when your profile reflects the same person they're meeting. It builds trust faster than you trying to impress them, right? So that's something that I wanted to cover. Um, I do have a quick recap, which is the system, build an AI context engine, dump all that information you have in there. Don't feel bad for giving information at the wrong order. This AI is smart enough to organize it, understand it, and give you something very solid for you to take action. So every edit is informed by your full history, network, and goals. Map every profile field as part of one interconnected system, no repetition, only compound value, and model your top performers. Study what works, apply the instruction to your own profiles systematically, and stop treating your LinkedIn like a one-time setup. Treat it as a living sales asset. And that's what I have for you guys. I really wanted to share it.
Nice.
And I hope it's useful. This is part one. I do have part two, which is a little bit more complex, but we'll get to that in the next session. But happy to get started with the activity.
Listen, I want to say, like, first off, like, this is probably, we've had only a few people drop off for the entire 51 minutes, which is amazing. Now,
Nice.
like we promised that we're going to like look at the profile for something from the comments. So Dave, I'm going to let you take a pick from the comments. You're going to scroll up a little bit and maybe you can share your screen and you can show us what's wrong with that profile and what you don't like and what you like.
Okay, so let me see. So I'm going to stop sharing my profile on the presentation. I'm going to choose. So let's see who will be the best one.
Nice. And by the way, guys, for those of you that are not using Aimfox yet, if you're attending this webinar, it means that you have a chance to get an extended 30-day free trial, as opposed to our regular 7-day free trial. So we're going to drop a link right now for you to fill out a form and to sign up for this extra 30 days or extra 23 days. And yeah, so if you're not using a LinkedIn outreach tool, or if you're using a different LinkedIn outreach tool, check us out. Other than just giving you an outreach sequencer, we also give you the option to rent LinkedIn avatars and kind of keep everything organized under one roof. Because what we've seen is that, like, you know, when you're using multiple providers, it can just be a bit of a hassle. So yeah, that'll be my pitch for today, Dave, and I'll let you pick something up.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick, but the profiles are so good.
Nice.
Okay,
then I'll do another answer in the questions. Okay, so like mirror profiles, in fact, what is the difference? So not really the topic of this slide, but yes, mirror profiles just gives you the profiles. We give you the profiles and the entire tool. So, and you don't have all the back and forth of like disconnecting profiles, reconnecting profiles. Everything is just so much easier to manage. And we also are starting to have an option to give you ID verified accounts. But yeah, mirror profiles, we are going to be definitely more affordable because we also give you the free LinkedIn outreach seat included in the price, Nick. So definitely talk to Xenia from our team and check it out. What data do you download? Okay, go for it. Then we'll go to
No. You can finish. No, you can finish, Alec. You can finish.
We'll go one more. Yeah. What data do you download from LinkedIn? I downloaded profile, but it didn't have much. That's for you, Dave.
What did it? Okay, so that's something you need to take into account because it's very important. If you don't have a very active LinkedIn, it's very hard for you to have enough information for Claude to make a very strong recommendation. So in this case, what I recommend is going to your profile. I will share my screen and I pick the candidate. I'm going to go with Shane, and I'm going to walk you guys through this.
Yeah, so. Awesome.
Perfect. So before I give you some feedback, Shane, what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer that question. So when it comes to you don't have enough information, what I recommend is go to more and then save to PDF. So it's going to grab all of the information for your profile. Your headline is going to choose your experience, and that's the easier way to get some information in. But if you don't have enough data, enough connections, you're just starting, it's going to be very hard. And one thing that's very important, guys, is when you are new on LinkedIn, you can now create a company page. You cannot. It doesn't let you. You have to get to a certain amount of connections for you to build a company page. So that is a blocker for people that are just starting. So ideally, what I recommend is ask somebody that you know that already has LinkedIn, has a good amount of connections, ask them to build the company for you and then give you the admin access so that your profile from the start looks like it has a solid company index in it, right? So that's something I do recommend. All right, so we're going to go with Shane. Shane, your profile do look good, right? But there's some areas of opportunity that we can use. The first one is having a banner, right? A banner that kind of specify or like a quick promise or some logos that you're working with, something that kind of shows that what your business is about, right? The image looks good, don't get me wrong, but ideally we want something that in this square on LinkedIn, which is the first image, I get as much value from it, right? The headline looks good. We help energy organizations scale revenue through at least sales and business development recruitment. If you want strategic growth, partner with me and secure proven performers. So now he has credibility. He clearly states who he helps. So I don't have much to say in the headline, to be honest with you. When it comes to the about me, you literally applied exactly everything. What do you specialize? How I work, my values, let's connect. You should add 2 additional skills just so you can kind of fulfill the spaces. When it comes to your services, you can perhaps see if there's any other options you can add. I see here that you only have 5. You have the room to add 5 more. But this was done very well. You added pictures as well from the banners, so that is good. What I do recommend is your feature section, right? How do you get your feature section to display? You have to click on a post and then put featured on the feature section. So if you're a new person on LinkedIn and you haven't posted a single post, it's very hard for you to see the feature section. It's not going to appear. So what I recommend is at least do a post that has a dot and then take that as a post and then feature it, and then you'll have the featured option appear, right? And then when it comes to experience, looks good. Licenses, I can tell you took the time. You took the time. I'll recommend get more recommendations. On the company page, I did see that you can add more specialties. You have additional room. You 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you have 13 more options that you can add. And something that I recommend is just preference. Remove emojis, right? What I've seen, and I could be wrong, but what I've seen is that there's people that still have very old school phones. And sometimes they don't update them. And then what I've seen is that sometimes emojis, they come like a little box error. So sometimes that distracts more than adding value. So don't think everybody has the latest iPhone. Don't think everybody has the latest updates. Sometimes there's emojis that they don't even support. So it looks like a box. And then now they get distracted on that box. They think there's something wrong with their phone and they just left your LinkedIn profile. So I try to avoid emojis at all costs. It's just my personal reference. But I see a solid profile. What I do recommend is go to your admin session on your company page and go where it says invites. I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like so you guys can see. This is my profile, by the way. If you do get the premium, it gives you the option to do like little slides. So you can kind of get people more hooked into what you offer. Just something that I recommend. And this is very important, the public profile and URL. So sometimes when you create a new profile, it comes with this very extended code. Remove it. Only leave your name or add something that relates to your company so that you're easier to find. And don't use special characters. Because then when you go look for people with special characters on their URL, it's so hard to find. Very hard to find. So just make sure you cut hyphens. Try to get all that stuff out, right? So it's easier for people to find you. But let me show you what it looks like on the company page. So this kind of shows you everything that I covered, how I'm taking into account. If you have the LinkedIn Premium, it lets you see the images on the service options. When you're not paying for Premium, it doesn't display the images, which is very important as well. So I use that strategically. Also, get reviews. If you delivered on the service, ask for a review, right? I have over 49 reviews, 5-star, and this helps me a lot because it gives people credibility that I can help them. So I know I haven't seen much people that use the review part in LinkedIn. I leveraged it a ton, and I do get buyers come to me like, this is the first time I ever seen reviews on LinkedIn, but leverage it. It's very important. But for you to use the reviews, you have to enable the service page, right? So to answer your question, Shane, you go here where it says invite to follow, right? If you're paying for premium, it's gonna auto invite, right? But you can go here to connections and then you can manually send them. And then here you have 250 credits available for you to send notifications. So for example, this person I just connected to, invite. But every first day of the month, you can send 250 connections, which is 3,000 potential connections that follow your page, right?
By the way, this is one of the the things that's on our roadmap. We are going to build out the functionality for you to send out automated page follow invitations from your profile.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing, amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. I have to make a post about that because that would be such a unique hit.
Yeah.
No, and the good thing
Yeah.
is like when you activate the LinkedIn Premium, you get very useful things. For example, you get to see this little preview, right? A case study from a buyer, right? When you scroll down on a mobile device, it'll show you the CTA at the bottom of the screen. So it's easier for people to kind of click on your links because usually people go to contact us or they go to about me and then go to the website, right? So make it easier for them to find you, to book you. If people hit contact us, it's already a meeting, right? So be strategic on the CTAs, right? That works a ton. And the last thing that I wanted to share is make sure the location is on the right place. Make sure that you're not using a general address. Sometimes people might go visit you at your business. Make sure that the address is correct. And that's what I wanted to show you guys. I did appreciate the session, Alec. Happy to answer more questions. I have a lot more stuff to show you guys. Hopefully, we have another session for us to cover that.
We should definitely.
Absolutely. And guys, if you want to reach out to me, my LinkedIn is Dave Mandura. Feel free to ask any questions. I get a lot of people ask me how each software works because they see me using Aimfox, they see me building in public. So feel free to reach out, use me as a resource. If you want to drop your LinkedIn profile and want me to just give you feedback, happy to do so. If you're looking for a job, happy to do so. If you're looking to hire, happy to help you as well. But yeah, Alec, what did we miss?
Yeah, man. I mean, like honestly, not much. Like, thank you so much, man, for hopping on. So for everybody here, again, Dave is one of the Aimfox experts. If you need any help with your Aimfox or anything, do reach out to him. He's as you can see, he knows a few things about it.
Yeah,
So
just
yeah,
a few.
yeah, I'd say a bit more than a few. Everybody will be sharing this recording on our YouTube channel. Thank you for sticking around and for being interactive. Yeah, reach out to Dave if you have any questions. And then other than that, Dave, thank you so much for your time. It was a blast.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing the knowledge.
Yeah, and guys, if you're not using Aimfox, don't talk to me. Just kidding. Just make sure you use it. Make sure you give it a good use case. Make sure you try it. It's a free trial. There's something that I always share people when I use Aimfox is I don't know why, but the interface, the support, the way it works, it just makes me feel that every time I touch Aimfox, I know what to execute. I know what I'm going to get back, and I know how to improve it fast. And also, if you're using Claude, you can connect the MCP from Aimfox. You can update. You can update your templates from Claude. You can see what campaigns are running, what campaigns have stopped. There's a lot of things you can use. So leverage Aimfox MCP has been fascinating for us. We're running campaigns in over right now 51 accounts. And for you to keep track of so many activity, it does require the MCP support. So you can kind of question it. Hey, what campaigns are working? Which ones should we do more? Which ones should we just cut? Use it, leverage it. Aimfox did a perfect job on this integration. Don't waste it.
Yeah, MCP, a big thumbs up for that. Dave, thank you so much, man. We could go on for hours and hours.
I know. We gotta cut
it. But we gotta cut it. We gotta cut it. My wife is getting angry because it's getting late here, and I gotta get home.
Sounds good.
Just kidding, man. Awesome. Thank you so much, and have an awesome day, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Sounds good. We'll be sharing you guys this presentation so you can use it, leverage it, and feel free to reach out.
Exactly. Bye.